What's up guys, Bijuu Mike here, your salad man. Today I wanted to do a video of Hello Neighbor, but this one's going to be a bit different from the videos that I've done in the past. This one's going to be a lot more straightforward and to the point, where I'm not just randomly playing the game, but I thought this video was really important to make, and let me explain why. In case you guys don't know, a new Hello Neighbor game just came out. I actually just made 2 episodes on it. If you guys want to check that out, I highly recommend that you check it out before coming back to this. It would make a lot more sense. I will be sure to link it here if you guys feel like doing that. But the game is called Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek. Now, Tiny Build randomly released this without giving any context as to why, and I actually have more information that I will get into later on in this video. And thanks to Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek, it actually gave us some missing pieces to the story, and I think I understand exactly what the meaning was behind the full game of Hello Neighbor when it came out, and I just have new information that I just want to talk about, okay? I really wanted to make this video, so I hope you guys enjoy. So as I said before, Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek just came out randomly, and this one focuses around his children. And you can tell it's obviously his children based on the way that they act, and it's just like, why would these random kids be here? It's gotta be his children. And then it sort of just like goes off into your imagination. And you have that whole thing. We're really familiar with doing this kind of thing inside of Hello Neighbor, the full game of Hello Neighbor. As you can see, lots of crazy things like giant things, and that really reflected on this one. So it's really, I feel like at this point, it's just a style choice of the game. They just like really talking about imagination, and that really plays a huge part in Hello Neighbor, the whole story in general. So in this game, we're just in the imagination of the kids, and you know, they're playing in the room, but you don't really know it in the game until when you finally beat the game and you go have a nice little dinner with not dinner, but probably breakfast, if I would imagine. I don't actually know. Now the question is, why did they release this? We're gonna answer that in this episode. Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek obviously takes place before any of the events in the actual Hello Neighbor. And I'm talking about Act 1 as well. I for sure, this does take place before Act 1, because you can see that the neighbor is not evil. He's completely fine, which I will say, he's still wearing his gloves. I would really like to know more information about the gloves, but sadly we don't know much about the gloves. Like, it's so weird. Now, you guys know how Hello Neighbor likes to throw random stuff in there. You never really know what you're seeing is real or not, but I think we can, you know, safely confirm that it's real, because not only did we get the cutscene showing the family, and everything seemed pretty much normal, and you could even see the house. It was before Act 1. It was the same house that they just actually, and you can see by the boxes, they just moved into that house, and that's the house that you see in Act 1, except minus the family. Now, you know, where'd the family go? Yeah, we'll get to that stuff too. It's safe to say that this is his family, and it's definitely real, because in Act 3 of Hello Neighbor, you can see a picture, and I don't remember exactly how you do it because it's been so long, and it actually shows a little bit of the mom. For some reason, they want to make her really mysterious, and I really want to know why that is. Like, why won't they show the mom's face, but they'll show the neighbor? Like, that doesn't really make any sense, so there's no telling what they're gonna do about that. I personally find it interesting that it looks like in Act 3, that picture is in a random room with a lot of forgotten stuff. I remember seeing a lot of the family's belongings, which is really sad. Like, it's seriously sad. This story is surprisingly more sad than I thought it would be when I first started this journey, you know, when I started playing it on YouTube. One huge misconception that I had was that the main character that you play as is the neighbor's son. But now that we played Hide and Seek, I can actually confirm that that is not his son, okay? And I just made this video like two videos ago. I was saying, oh, that's the son. I have proof right here that it's not his son. Which, to be honest, I never really understood how that theory really makes sense, but does Hello Neighbor actually make sense? Not in a lot of places, no, it does not make sense. So I actually took the liberty of taking screenshots of the main character at every stage of his life that it does show in the game, which really there's only 2 stages of his life. One where he's all beat up, and then we got one where, you know, in the first scene of Act 1, you can see him, and then also where he's grown up. Now, here's the picture of the actual son that, you know, we can confirm is his actual son in Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek. Do you see a difference? There is a difference. Now, the reason why I assumed that the main character was the son in the first place is I looked at the swirl, and I assumed that, you know, okay, the actual main character that we play in Act 3 has the swirl, so clearly they have to be, you know, we have to be the son. Which raised a lot of questions, I won't lie. But if you take a closer look, you can see the swirl is actually completely different. And I thought that maybe this was just an art choice and they just randomly decided to change the swirl on a new character model or something like that, because you know he's a lot younger in hide and seek. I thought maybe they just changed the swirl and it wasn't really important, but it is. It's actually everything about this theory that we're not the son. So if you look at hide and seek, you can see the direction of his swirl, the fact that it looks completely different, and then you look and I thought, okay, maybe the adult model would be different compared to the Act 1 model of the main character. And here you can see the swirl is different, but it also looks like that. But when you bring it to his adult version, the swirl pretty much stays exactly the same. It's the same direction. So that is, to me, I mean, I don't know how you can get any more proof than that is proof that, you know, we are not the neighbor's son, which is something I believed for so long. I even put it in my title. But if it weren't for that circle, I would have believed it, because every other feature really matches. You got the brown eyes, we have the eyebrows, and well, the hair can change, so you know we don't really know much about that. But I think it's safe to assume that every character in this game has a swirl, and they all look very similar, because that's just what it seems to me. So now the question is, what happened to the family? Well, the answer to that question is unfortunately very, very dark. Now that might not be a shock or a surprise to a lot of you guys, since you probably watched playthroughs or you played the game yourself. You know, you remember witnessing that in Act 1, I believe it was Act 1 and Act 2, those cutscenes played, and that's the only information we really have to go off, you know, what happened to his family. But that also poses some questions. We've seen the hospital scene, but does that actually prove that his entire family really died? Like, did they all die? And you're probably wondering, like, well, of course they died. I mean, why else would you think that their family members could be alive? While I will say, I can't confirm that theory to be true, that maybe his whole family didn't die, I can say that perhaps they didn't all die at once. Now, TinyBuild literally just released this an hour ago, and it was like fate, because I was making this video and I seen that that came out, and that gives us so much more questions about Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek, and it really just, so many questions really is all I'm trying to say. All you can really see from that footage is it looks like the neighbor is really depressed, and you can see the same reaction as well from the daughter. She looks really, they both look really, really mopey, and she looks really sad. It's a dark room, and you just see that TV, like all he's doing is watching TV, just like he did in Act 3, and you know, just playing the game itself. I mean, you gotta do something to fill in that void, you know, it's your family that he lost. He lost some of his family. I think at this point in the game, which will be Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek, the actual game, I totally forgot to mention that, yeah, Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek is the demo. It's a demo to another game. You know, what the heck? I did not expect them to release an entire new game. I thought what we played was the entire new game. I thought that you know, the fans wanted to see more about the family, so they just wanted to show more about the family. No, fam. It's a new game. Now, is that connected to Secret Neighbor? I don't know. I think Secret Neighbor is just a multiplayer thing. I really do think that. No, I think with the full game of Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek, I really think that these questions are a lot of these questions are gonna be answered, and it's gonna tell a pretty sad, like, I got a feeling it's gonna be really sad story about what exactly happened to his family and what did the neighbor go through. You know, what led up to the point where he had to kidnap these kids. Why did the neighbor feel the need to, like, kidnap these children? You can see the missing poster of the missing boy and the missing girl, so maybe even perhaps he kidnapped more than just those two kids. There's no telling how many kids he kidnapped. But it's so sad because he was trying to do everything he can, and I'm guessing this is the incentive. He was trying to kidnap these kids to fill that void of his missing children. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the boy that we play as in the actual game of Hello Neighbor looks so much like his actual son. And then at the end of Act 2, we safely get away, and I feel like I have to mention as well that a lot of time passes in between Act 1 and Act 2 because his house becomes significantly bigger. He's already starting with these renovations that we all know and love, and just so much more is going on. So there's no telling exactly how many kids he's kidnapped, what exactly has he done. He's just gone absolutely crazy to cover up his tracks by building this gigantic fence covering his house, giving him that privacy. I mean, I still wonder, like, where's the property laws in this town? Like, what is this town? But that's probably a whole nother video. So yeah, we safely escape, and I'm guessing the girl was making a lot of noise because that's what stops him from chasing us in the first place. We go back home. I mean, that's some awkward neighbors. And then we go straight to Act 3 where it shows the main character in his house and he's getting evicted. Now there's a big missing segment. What exactly happened to the neighbor? Like, and Act 3 doesn't explain this. So I'm willing to bet that Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek is really going to explain this these missing pieces. We really clearly identified what is missing, and this game has to do that. They're not gonna make another game. I mean, you're probably thinking like, well, we seen the neighbor at the end of the game, but as you can tell, we woke up from a dream. All of Act 3 is in a dream, so spoiler alert, if you haven't played it, you should have played it by now, or feel free to go back on my Hello Neighbor playlist and watch all the games if you can't afford the game for whatever reason. It's all a dream, and I'm willing to bet that pretty much everything that happened in Act 3, all those little things that we thought were secrets, even including the picture of the neighbor's house in our house in Act 3, that's all just in his mind. Another huge question is, what about the Shadow Man? Now that was always something that I really was confused about, and I feel like we never really got a proper explanation of the Shadow Man, but I think it was really open to interpretation, and here's my interpretation. At the beginning of Act 3, we go to our old house, which is across the street from the neighbor's house, who, what it appears to look like is they were both burnt down. Like, they're both really, really wrecked, so I'm not really sure about that. It really seems like we're getting some like huge like anxiety. We start like looking at our hands, we start getting dizzy, and then we see the Shadow Man. Now I think obviously the Shadow Man is not real, and it just represents our fear and that paranoia that we had when we got kidnapped by the neighbor. The Shadow Man is nothing more than a manifestation of the fear that we felt about getting kidnapped again, and just going back to that childhood home, trying to basically face your fears. That's what the main character is essentially doing through the entire game, is facing his fear, because getting kidnapped would be a very traumatizing experience. And this theory is later supported in the game, because you can see the Shadow Man when you're playing the game through those weird puzzles that you do when you become small. The Shadow Man's always watching you from everywhere, because we're so terrified of the neighbor coming back to kidnap us. We're so scared. We're watching over us all the time, just terrified that the neighbor is gonna come back to kidnap us again. So the main character falls asleep in his house, but of course you don't know this at first until the very end of the game. Right before he wakes up, we fight this gigantic version of the neighbor, which is obviously way too bizarre, and it's not real. That's how you know that it's a dream, because things are just way too wacky. We end up defeating the Shadow Man. The shadow just disappears into thin air, basically. And then right after that, we see that sideways looking house, and then the neighbor's looking really sad. But if you look at the other side of that house, you see the Shadow Man. The Shadow Man is actually separated from the neighbor, and I think that is very symbolic to say that we are forgiving the neighbor for what he did to us. Okay, so the Shadow Man dies. Oh, we're here now. No, don't leave me! And the reason why we're forgiving him is because we feel bad, because, in Act 3, you find that picture. You find that picture of his family, and I think that the main character realized that he lost his family and he's going through a lot. Like, he's really mental and crazy, and he doesn't exactly mean what he's doing. Although, it's not excusable, it's very bad. But I think we realized that, and we forgave him. That way we can move on with our life. So, in that way, I think Hello Neighbor had a really great message. Of course, a lot of people didn't interpret it that way, and including me. I was very confused, and I was just expecting to find the children. That's why I'm really happy that we got Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek. It really is going to tie up those loose ends, and now I'm even more excited given all the the new things we just found out. We already established that Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek is going to be a prequel, and it's really going to be filling in some things. Maybe it will be sort of a sequel as well. That's the thing we don't know. But is the neighbor dead? The neighbor is obviously not there. His house isn't even there. So what actually happened to the neighbor in the beginning of Act 3? When everything was said and done, what actually happened to the neighbor? Did he get caught? We have absolutely no idea, but I actually think the neighbor is still alive and possibly is still on the loose. In this clip here, you see the neighbor, and this is the beginning of Act 3, so this is after the neighbor got kidnapped. So, you know, the house was already pretty much demolished, and we don't really know if this is just an Easter egg or something random, but I think it really means that the neighbor is still out there, alive, but he's watching us and stalking us even. I mean, come on, if that's not stalking, then I don't know what it is. He's sitting on top of a building staring at our house. And of course we only know that by glitching the game, but I'm inclined to believe that it actually means that he's alive and well. So what now? Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek is gonna fill those missing gaps of the story. I think we pretty much understand that at this point, but there's one more missing piece that just doesn't make sense. Why would they show this? Like, what does this have to do with the game whatsoever? At the very end of the demo for Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek, we see the Raven spying on the whole entire family. Now, here's where it gets crazy. All throughout the builds of Hello Neighbor, even the earlier builds where I really kind of discount those because they don't really seem to make sense. I think that the creators of the game were just trying to figure out what to do with the game, so I'm not gonna really take those builds into consideration when it comes to the story. I really just look at the final game as what the actual story is, not the old ones. It just doesn't really make sense. But even still, one thing that we've seen through a theme that we've seen throughout the entire Hello Neighbor builds and even the promotional artwork for the game is the Raven. That is the missing piece. The Raven. And another huge clue that I don't think anyone noticed. I think I'm the only one that's talked about it because I just absolutely never heard anyone talk about it. What is the missing piece? Well, that is the Ravenbrook Homeowners Association. Sorry, I gotta sound like Matt Pat, you know? This video is kind of inspired by Matt Pat, to be honest. I mean, it's not a... I always say it anyway. The Ravenbrook Homeowners Association only shows up in the Epic Games launcher where you can actually mod the game. There's no reason why they needed to add this other than dropping some kind of hint. I honestly think, and this is the last thing I have to talk about, that this Ravenbrook Homeowners Association is behind what happened to the Hello Neighbors. Is what happened to the neighbor's family. There's this missing link, and this is where I have absolutely no answers. But that Raven looked like a camera. It looked like a camera, and I think that the family got spied on, and they are the ones that caused that pizza truck to crash in to the neighbor's family, to kill them. Why would they? Like, why would they possibly want to ruin the neighbor's life like that? This is the whole thing. This is what I don't know, and I really hope to God that we get this answer in Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek. Guys, please let me know what you thought of this video down below. I wanted to make this video because I'm just so intrigued by the story, and now there's just so many more questions that I would like to answer. I would really like to hear from you guys, like, what do you think do you like this video? Do you agree or do you disagree with what I've said in this video? I'm not saying that everything is fact, but that is the most, like, sense that I can really make out of this entire story. If you guys disagree with any of the points that I said in this video, please leave a comment down below, because when Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek comes out August 30th, by the way, I'm pretty sure I'm right about that, we will have the answers, okay? And I would like to make an update video if it is necessary. But yeah, I wanted to make this video because I just really find Hello Neighbor so interesting, and I don't know if the developers always had this in mind when they were making the game, but I never expected another game to come out, and I can say bravo. This is a deep story. With that being said, guys, if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for some more Hello Neighbor and just other games I play in general. I like to stay on top of these awesome, crazy horror games with, you know, all the trendy stuff because, hey, I'm Trendy Mike, right? Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a bell. I already said sub. And I will see you scrubs in the next episode. Sorry, no scrub of the day today. Bye-bye.